Hello, Steve at Trickboy89 for Steve at 89. Well, I just did a review for Prodigy, and I wanted to do a shorter, spoiler-free review just because it was hard to sort of keep it short and explain all the elements of the story as well as just my general impression of the show. I just want to talk about that. So, basically, it was good. It didn't really feel like Star Trek, but as far as just a show on its own, it was well produced. The first thing you notice, of course, are the visuals. They were beautiful. The CGI animation is absolutely stunning, breathtaking at times. I had to screen capture shots of the ship at times that just looked that good. But it didn't really feel like Star Trek. There's no Starfleet sort of element. Star Trek for me is very much about humanity exploring space and Starfleet, and this is nothing about any of those subjects. It's basically just aliens, and the first half of the show is just all aliens on a colony, and there's really no feeling. It just feels like Star Wars. But once they get onto the ship, it changes a little bit. But the ship itself, I really only have two complaints for the show. The first one is that the aspect ratio is 2.39, and it really, I think it detracts from the visuals because it literally, you have black bars on the screen, so you're losing some of the image just to have black bars. And this would make some sense if it was a movie in the cinema. Now maybe they were going to show the premiere on the big screen, but there's no reason why they couldn't have altered the format for the premiere and left the actual series as 16:9, which is what standard TVs are. Same problem with Picard and Discovery. They've done it for this pretentious reason of being more cinematic, but it's not being shown in a cinema, it's being shown on TV. And like I said, if they are going to screen it on a cinema screen, they can always alter the aspect ratio for that screening and let the series be 16:9. So that's my main technical complaint for the show. But like I said, it's the same one I have for Discovery and Picard. So the other issue was with the overall story. I was hoping once they escaped the prison colony, that it would be very much just them out exploring space with Kathy as a mentor, and that Captain Janeway would sort of be their guide and showing them basically what Starfleet is and about humanity, and that they eventually end up becoming members of Starfleet. But it looks more like the show is going to be like a rerun of The Fugitive, but with teenage aliens being chased. And I'm worried that instead of having standalone explorative adventures, they're just going to be running from the villains, the bad guys, every week, which will really my main concern with the show going in was it was going to be very kiddie and talking down to children, but it really wasn't. I was quite surprised. The story is not that complicated. It's really just about bringing the characters together and them escaping this planet, this asteroid, which is very much like a big geode where they're basically mining. And one of the things you do learn is that they're actually not just taking criminals and prisoners and using them as labour, they're also taking orphans. They're buying orphans from people like Kazon. So these characters may not actually be criminals, they may be orphans who were just kidnapped or found. So we don't know their histories yet. So it's hard to tell how it's going to go, but my main concern is it's just going to be like The Fugitive, and instead of individual science fiction stories and adventures, we're just going to have, one chapter after another of the same sort of cat and mouse chase story. Because there's two villains, the Diviner, who is the father of Gwyn, who has, I think, grown up on the asteroid, and she was an interpreter and working for her dad. She wanted to get off the asteroid and be an explorer. The other characters are all different aliens who, like I said, they're there, but whether they're orphans or criminals, we don't know. And the other villain is Dreadnought, who is basically the henchman for the Diviner, who seems to be ill. And he's sort of based on Maximilian from The Black Hole, and I had to watch a bit of that just to really see what that character was like, and he basically is just a silent robot enforcer. This one talks a lot more. And the John Noble baddie character, the Diviner, is basically supposed to be inspired by Khan. So, yeah, visually it was great. The storytelling was good. It wasn't speaking down to kids, because when Kurtzman was talking about developing the show, fortunately it was made by someone else for them, he really made it sound like they were designing a show for children, like it had to speak down to them, like they was some sort of lower form of intelligence or something, which I thought was going to be really condescending and hard to watch. But it actually wasn't like that at all. So it was a good show. I enjoyed it. It was beautiful, but it didn't really feel like Star Trek. It felt like Star Wars, and I'm waiting to see if it sort of turns into Star Trek. Like Janeway only pops up in the last couple of minutes when someone asks for help. She pops up and basically says, I'm the holographic training program, how can I help you? And whether she just pops up for a bit of advice once an episode, or whether she's actually sort of a main character and a mentor for the other characters, I'm not sure. We'll see. Discovery changed very much in the third episode. Whether this will be like that, I'm not sure. We've got some really bad storms happening at the moment around me, so I'm not sure if I'm going to lose power any second now. I wanted to keep this to 5 minutes, but I've failed. I'm hitting 6 minutes. But yeah, my main concern is that it won't feel like Star Trek. They're not going to be exploring space. They're just going to be running from a villain the whole time. And it's going to be very much good guys versus bad guys, and sort of a simplistic sort of storytelling, which it's hard to tell because, like I said, Discovery changed drastically in the third episode. This show, we've only seen the first 2 episodes put together as one episode. This episode was entitled Lost and Found. It's supposed to be part 1 and 2, so there's only 8 other stories left. I'm going to go for my power goes, but yeah, I'm not sure how it's going to evolve and if it's going to really develop into a really Star Trek-like show, or if it's just going to be just some cat and mouse, good guys versus bad guys, sort of simplistic sort of story. We'll see. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Thanks. Bye.